Hi everyone, I'm Don Singletary and welcome to the channel. The channel especially for home investors to learn to trade small with the Micro E-minis, an affordable way to learn to trade before you scale up for bigger money. And today, instead of the usual live trade in the weekly video, I'm going to show you a real actual trade, only it won't be in real time. And it won't be in real time for a very good reason, because the trade was 2.5 hours long and mostly very uneventful. But I made a significant amount of money with the trade, which is why I want to show it to you. And I guess I'm going to call it the while you're gone to lunch trade. And I'll be talking about that and some other trading tips today on the program. So stand by. We have all that and more coming up next. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're not following everything you see in today's featured trade I'm going to show you, be sure and catch up by looking in the text below this video. I have two playlists down there specifically for beginners to help you learn how to trade small with the Micro E-minis, so you can learn to scale up for bigger money later. And before I get to today's trading tips, I'm going to get right into this trade, which was really a lot of fun. I did it a couple of days ago on February 3rd, 2021, and I used the Micro E-mini. The MYM is the symbol. It's the Dow Jones 30 Industrials average, and we'll get right to it. Now, I'm calling this the while I was gone to lunch trade for a reason you'll see in a moment. Like I said, it's 2.5 hour long trade. And right about here at 12:31 p.m., I went long two of the MYM H21. That's the March futures on the Micro E-mini, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And so I went right here at 12:31. I went long at a price of 30,546 right there. Now, one of the nice things about this trade, I did have just a little bit of drawdown, as you can see here in the next 5 minutes. I went down to 35.23, so I was down $23 there. The futures are 50 cents a point, but I'm trading two of them, so it's $1 equals 1 point here. But you can see about 10 or 15 minutes into the trade, right here at about 35.56, just 10 points up, I put in a stop order. I put in a stop market order, to be specific. So if the futures had gotten back down to 35.56, I would have been stopped out, and I wouldn't have lost any money. I would have made $10, which is plenty enough to cover commissions and all that. But what I liked about this trade, you can see for the rest of the day, the market never came down to that level again. So it was what I call, and if you've seen the videos, this is a free trade. Now, I know there's no such thing really, but what I did was put a stop market order behind this order so that I could just let it run. There's no way I could lose a penny. In fact, I would make $10. And I just let it go all afternoon. Now, why did I get in this trade to begin with? Well, let's take a look, a bird's eye view of the entire day. Right here at 9:30, the market opens, and you can see it goes up for a while. And then about 9:55 or 10 o'clock, it goes down all the way until 10:35. And then at 10:35, it goes up again. And what we find is right about here, the market's been open for 9:30 till 11:15. That's an hour and 45 minutes, and it's exactly the same price it was when the market opened. So what's the daily trend? There isn't one at 11:15. None's been established. Now the market does go on back up a little bit, and I'm watching the MACD below. I haven't gotten a good trade signal yet. You have to be especially careful on days when you don't have any certain trend in the market and it just seems to go up and down, and sometimes it seems without a lot of reason. So I go up to 30,600 there, and still I'm just not ready to trade, even though you can see down here in the MACD I have the red and green lines over the zero line, but there's not any momentum. They're barely above the zero line. And so far during the day, we've had at least 13 trips of directional changes in the first 2 hours of the market, first 2.5 almost. And then at right here at about 11:55, the market heads down again. Now, as the market heads down, I'm looking down here at the MACD, and I see these vertical green lines here headed down, and sure enough, there's a crossover right here indicating maybe some more down movement is in order. But due to the history of this day, that first 3 hours now from 9:30 till 12:30, I know from experience when, you never know this with certainty, of course, but I know from experience when you have a day that has no big dominant prevalent trend, and you see the market going up and down and switching directions very often. In fact, back here from 9:30 until 10:30, you can see the length of these candlesticks. They're all quite long. That means high volatility. And then the rest of the morning, they're compared to the first hour and a half, they're kind of short. And so when I see this going down in this downward direction right here, I'm not really convinced that we're going to have much down action, or at this point, not really much up action in the market either, just going back and forth. But you know what my mentor used to say, you know, what you call a horse race without a $2 bet. Boring. That's right. So I saw a chance here when this dip came down, and I was supposing the market would probably cyclically go back up again. Now, I did not know that. There's no way you can know that ahead of time. We see it on the chart here, but that's genius of hindsight. But I did not have that, of course, and neither will you during the heat of the trade here. So it's a bit like a horse race here. And I am drawing a gambling analogy because I do feel I'm gambling a little bit, but I'm only going to gamble, you know, 20 or 30 bucks as a worst case scenario. And I would have stopped out of this thing if had it continued on down right there, but it didn't. It turned around. And so I was able right here at about 12:45 to put that stop in at 30,556. And from then on, I had a free trade the rest of the day. I'm going to take a time out here for a moment to tell you there are other reasons I placed this trade at this particular time. It's the first week of February in 2021. Now we have a new president. The emergency cash relief checks are about to go out to millions of Americans. The vaccines are fully in progress and improving every day. The general outlook in the market is optimistic. Not only that, but a couple of days ago, I got reminded of something that is on my mind all the time. You know, interest rates are almost non-existent now. I mean, like 10-year treasuries are barely paying 1%, if that sometimes. And there are, and I heard this on the news the other day, there are $1.4 trillion of cash lined up on Wall Street waiting for a place to go. Well, gold's already at an all-time high, so you don't have a lot of new buyers into that at this particular moment. The stock markets are all maxed out and near their record levels, and interest rates are low. So there's really nowhere else for all that cash to go. You can't buy bonds, and precious metals are already up. And so, you know, these people that run these funds for investments, for retirement systems, they have to put that cash somewhere. And if they put it in the bank or a CD, they're not going to make a competitive rate. So they're almost kind of have to put it into the stock market. That's just my opinion. Others agree with me, and of course, some don't. I do believe my book, which sales support the free videos on the channel here, will make learning to trade the Micro E-minis faster and easier for you. And there's a special chapter in there on psychology. Hit the link below this video, the book link down there, and you can go to the Amazon page and look inside to see the table of contents and other information. I'd appreciate that, and thank you. We'll get right back to the trade. If you like the video you're watching today, that's what the like button is here for on the channel. Just click it if you want to see more videos like this one. I'd appreciate that. And remember to subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you won't miss the new videos each week. Okay, now we can get back to our live trade today. You may recall I bought two of the Micro E-minis, the DJIA Micro E-minis, trading at 50 cents a point. Since I'm trading two, that's $1 per point in the trade. Now I entered the trade at 12:31 at a price of 30,546. About 15 minutes later, I was able to put this stop market order onto the trade at only 10 points up at 30,556. Now, a stop market order has a trigger price, and if the trade happens at that trigger price, then it turns that into a market order, and it would liquidate the trade and get me out of it with a profit of around $10. Now, having said all that, that provides what I call a free trade for me. It's not really free, of course, but what it means is the worst thing can happen. I'm going to make $10, and now I can go stress-free and just let this trade run and see how much money it could make. And that's really fun to do, and it's kind of a creative way to look at things, and you might consider that. I do it all the time. Now, in this trade, as time goes by, you see, we get up into this area, and we kind of level off. Each candlestick now is 5 minutes wide. So I entered the trade here, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes later, I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 candlesticks. That's for 35 minutes. The trade stayed virtually at the same price. It went up and down, but only a small amount. Now, later on, when I get out to this point right here, I had a really nice surprise. Oh, I forgot to tell you. When I did put this stop in back here, I actually, I didn't go anywhere for lunch, but I went back and made a sandwich and had a coffee. And I came back later to find out the trade had moved almost nothing at all in the 20 or 30 minutes while I've gone. So I'll call this the lunch hour trade for that reason. Now, over here, right about this point, the time is about 1:42. I've been an hour and 11 minutes into the trade, and I put in another stop. Not really a second stop. I moved the original stop down there at 30,556, and I've got to bring it all the way up to 30,610. 30,610, and I did that at about 1:41 in the afternoon. About an hour and 11 minutes into the trade. And then finally, around 2:30 in the afternoon over here, the trade had gone up some more, and I like to move that stop order in behind it to increase my profits in case I get stopped out. Now, when I saw that this trade had gone over the 30,650 level, I decided that I would put a stop in exactly 100 points up from where I entered. I entered at 30,546. And this would be 30,646 right here. So this now means the worst thing that can happen in this trade is I'm going to make $100. And then again, I just let the thing go. I don't have to sit here and nurse the trade or anything. Now, what happened, and it was strange that it took such a long time, but from 2:30 out until I think it was 3 minutes after 3 o'clock, which would be right about here, that's when I was stopped out. And it was, I came very close to it 10 minutes before, but it didn't trigger. But it triggered out here, and so I got stopped out at 30,646 and made $100 on the trade that lasted 2.5 hours. But it was like a free trade, and it was pretty stress-free. When that happens, that's really fun. Now remember, the biggest two mistakes beginners make are allowing losses to mount up, and they substitute hope for a strategy when they begin a trade, and they keep lowering their or raising their stops and risking more and more money, letting your losses run, in other words. The other big mistake is not allowing a trade, and this trade's a great example of this, not allowing a trade to run its profits, or another way to say that is taking your profits too quickly. Now, you're going to lose a lot of trades in this type of trading. It's risky. And you're only going to win around 60% of your trade. So it's really important to let the profits run when you can, and to use stop orders to do that, like I did in this trade. And the other thing, of course, is being able to stop out quickly if you get into a trade and it turns on you. Nip it in the bud. Get rid of that rascal and move on to something where you can make some money. Hope you enjoyed the out to lunch trade this week. I did. It was a lot of fun, though it took a while. All the charts and program you see here on the channel are Tastyworks, and there's an affiliate broker link below in the text if you'd like to find out more information. I'd appreciate that. I'm Don Singletary. I hope every day is a payday for you, and thank you.